सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परम ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ओम निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। समस्तब्रह्मविद्या आचार्येभ्यो नमः। वेदव्याससद्गुरवे नमः। वैशम्पायन सद्गुरवे नमः। याज्ञवल्क्य सद्गुरवे नमः। आद्यशंकर सद्गुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। As a part of the Parayanam, because we concluded the Bhruguvalli yesterday, we will do the beginning of it. Now again from the first Pratama Shiksha Valli for the chanting. Om Atha Pratama Shiksha Valli. Om Shanno Mitrah Sham Varunah Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Bruhaspatihi Shanno Vishnurukramah Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतो तद्वक्तारमवतो अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ शिक्षां व्याख्यास्यामः वर्णस्वरः मात्राबलं सामसन्तानः इत्युक्तः शिक्षाध्यायः। सहनौ यशः सहनौ ब्रह्मवर्चसम् अथातः संहिताय उपनिषदं व्याख्यास्यामः पञ्चस्वधिकरणेषु अधिलोकमधिज्यौतिषमधिविद्यमधि प्रजमध्यात्मम् तामहासंहिता इत्याचक्षते। अथाधिलोकं पृथिवीपूर्वरूपं द्यौरुत्तररूपम् आकाशस्सन्धिः वायुस्सन्धानम् इत्यधिलोकम् अथाधिज्योतिषम् अग्निः पूर्वरूपम् आदित्य उत्तररूपम् आपस्सन्धिः वैद्युतसन्धानम् इत्यधिज्योतिषम् अथाधिविद्यम् आचार्यः पूर्वरूपम् अन्तेवास्युत्तररूपम् विद्यासन्धिः प्रवचनगं सन्धानम् इत्यधिविद्यम् अथाधिप्रजम् माता पूर्वरूपम् पितोत्तररूपम् प्रजासन्धिः प्रजननगं सन्धानम् इत्यधिप्रजम् अथाध्यात्मम् अधराहनुः पूर्वरूपम् उत्तराहनुरुत्तररूपम् वाक्सन्धिः जिह्वासन्धानम् इत्यध्यात्मम् इति महासंहिताः। य एवमेतामहासंहिता व्याख्याता वेद सन्धीयते प्रजया पशुभिः ब्रह्मवर्चसेनान्नाद्येन सुवर्गेण लोकेन यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया स्पृणोतो अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय आवहन्ते वितन्वाना कुर्वाणा चिरमात्मनः वासागंसि मम गावश्च अन्नपाने च सर्वदा ततो मे श्रियमावह लोमशां पशुभिः सह स्वाहा आमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा विमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा प्रमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा दमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा शमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा यशोजने सा निस्वाहा श्रेयान्वस्य सोसा निस्वाहा तन्ताभगप्रविशा निस्वाहा समाभगप्रविश स्वाहा तस्मिन् सहस्रशाखे निभगाहं त्वयि मृजे स्वाहा यथा पप्रवतायन्ते यथा मासा अहर्जरम् एवं मां ब्रह्मचारिणः धातरायन्तु सर्वतः स्वाहा प्रतिवेशोऽसि प्रमाभाहि प्रमापद्यस्व ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ श्री तैत्तिरीय अरण्यान्तर्गत कृष्णयजुर्वेदान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद शिक्षावल्ली प्रथमोऽनुवाकः ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतो तद्वक्तारमवतो अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 शिक्षां व्याख्यास्यामः वर्णस्वरः मात्राबलं सामसन्तानः इत्युक्तः शिक्षाध्यायः सहनौ यशः सहनौ ब्रह्मवर्चसम् अथातः संहिताया उपनिषदं व्याख्यास्यामः पञ्चस्वधिकरणेषु अधिलोकमधिज्यौतिषमधिविद्यमधिप्रजमध्यात्मम् ॐ यस्माज्जातं जगत्सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रलीयते येनेदन्धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहं तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते. Saluting all the Rishi Muni Guru Parampara, saluting our Taittiriya Rishi Parampara, the Vedavyasa Bhagavan, Yajnavalkya Bhagavan, Vaishampayana Bhagavan, Adi Shankara Bhagavan. The ignorance and delusion is one, not recognizing what is given to us. Second is what can be done and what is to be done with what is given. So we are given the ability to speak. Not knowing that we are given the speech ability, not knowing how to use it, what for using it is called illusion. So in the Siksha Adhyayam, we are given the entire training regarding how the ability to speak is used by learning the Bhasha, by learning the Vyakaranam, with which the life of communication, which is inevitable, means the communication may language is inevitable, that has become easier. Now, not only in the Sanskrita Bhasha, which we have not known now, but whatever the other languages we are learning, our own mother tongue. First of all, we have learned it or not. Answer is yes, we learned. The second question is important key. Having learned the knowledge, what for we are using that language, that bhasha. Most of us we observe, we are using all our bhasha jnanam only for vyavahara, only for samsara, our own mother tongue. How many of us used this bhasha of our own mother tongue for something higher? Some of them tried to go to little higher level of some arts, some sort of poetry, some sorts of little appreciation of this and that, some emotions. Some extent people have gone to the level of using language to communicate some niti vakyas, to communicate some disciplines, to communicate some type of duties, dharma, etc. Bhasha. I'm talking about any bhasha. After that language is learned, one can use it only for the bhoga, one can use it only for the vyavahara, and all of us doing that only. But is that the limitation of the bhasha? It can be used for higher purposes, which we mentioned. And there are very few who have used this bhasha for the praise of the Paramatma. In that praise, that bhasha has become the great literature of bhakti for them in every language. But it is still available to us in our own mother tongue. The bhakti related literature is so much available. But are we using our languages for that, or that particular utilization of bhasha? Are we using it for ourselves? Very less. Then only the final level of using the bhasha to communicate between the guru and disciple for the transfer of the knowledge about the absolute truth, which is beyond or behind every bhasha. Among those bhashas is Sanskrit. Sanskrit bhasha, here the matra, varnaswara, matra, balam, sama, santana, through after Siksha Adhyaya is start, what are you using your this learning of knowledge for? So a training is given titled as the Samhita Upanishad, where this bhasha parigyanam we are using by asking question to the guru, and when the guru is given an answer, for the sake of what? For Samhita Upanishad. Means what? For doing the Upasana. Upasana means what? It will be explained detailed in today's definition we will see. But so far, Upasana is observing what the divine work that is happening, accepting it and abiding in that with whatever the rules or duties we have to be. That's called Upasana. Like what is Upasana of parents? You are at home, observe the parents are there working hard for your own survival. Know your own role or position in the house, accept the every setup at home, and then what is in your hands as a child, if you can do it, that's called as upasana. In the same way, in the vast world we are there, observe what are the great grand glorious phenomena are happening, because of which the entire world is sustaining, every individual also sustaining. First observe, then understand, then appreciate it, praise it, feel that veneration or reverence or honest for that. Thereafter, in that part of Upasana, then what is my role for continuing this beauty in the world around? What extra I can do or add from myself to make it more glorious and beautiful? This is called as Upasana. In this effort, the ego is serving the totality. The ego is using his equipments for the totality. The ego or the individual is no more slave to his own upadhis, nor he is creating in his mind any funny ideas of the desires or the angers or all the durguna. None of them are there. If you observe and practice the upasana and observe its result. I mean, this world, part of the world, beautiful world, glorious world, blessed by the world, in which so many phenomena are happening. It is so reverential. It is so beautiful. It is. It is mind blowing. It is unimaginable, ununderstandable. If it is understandable, it is how great it is. Every phenomenon. So I am part of it. I am given a chance to be here. I am given all the equipments to cherish, enjoy all of them. After this, what is my role, therefore, to make this thing continue? You know the difference between when a scavenger is cleaning the floor, a person throwing the littering there, kagas dalna, and the other person, he though has that kachra, he took it and threw it in the dustbin. That attitude is different between a worst fellow and an upasaka. Anyway, he is cleaning करके वो जो कचरा फेंकता है, that's the worst fellow's attitude. That person is working hard to clean. Let me contribute. Okay? His own whatever the littering or the kagaz khasra hai, he when he puts it directly in the dustbin, he is a matured person. He is an upasaka. He is adding to the cleanliness of the floor rather than spoiling it. At large means universally also when we look our entire abilities, capacities, intellections, when we recognize them and make use of them for the upasana of the total, then we are mature. Therefore, we are only here for not bhoga but for the upasana. Only when the attitude of upasana is maintained for a long time, where we are seeing every beautiful thing happening in the world around and adding from our side, whatever. If you can't add anything, at least appreciate it, share it, don't destroy it. After doing it for a long time only, where, as we said, the antakarana has become so purified, so empowered with that purity, that the next thing starts in called as inquiry. Who is the one behind all these phenomena functioning, making all these things happen at such a big level of universe? In this universe, such huge things are happening. Big Bang, every time moment there's a Big Bangs are happening. The fission of the one star into thousands is happening. Fusions of many stars into one also is happening. Which for our science, now they are trying to see it with their small little intellects. Like that, even if you can't go to that level, is not this a huge phenomena of the solar system so beautifully coordinating with each other, moving? What is not glorious, great in this world? Everything is great. Is it not? The sun taking the water and giving it as rain. The earth giving variety of the plants through them fruits and all that. कौन सी चीजें यहाँ अद्भुत नहीं है बताओ? Everything is adbhutam, everything is wonder. Seeing it, appreciating it is called upasana. Just indulging it like a bhogi is a very low level that anybody can do. That is a lot of those who don't have the mind of emotions, intellect of understandings, called as animals. Animals have only deha, only vastus are it for it, only to consume it. They don't have the mind. They don't have the emotions to appreciate. And little they have when the owner gives some grass or some biscuits, that dog will wag its tail. उसको उतना ही होता है, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं. It will not do too much also, but जब चाहो तब नहीं करता है, उसको मूड होता है करता है, when it loves the यजमान temporarily. Otherwise, when it will sleepy, it will sleep without caring anybody. That much only the possibility of emotion in the animal. But in you and I as a human being, the possibility of emotion is maximum. Emotion is a part of upasana, wherein we are observing the great things that are appearing and we are appreciating in that respect and reverence. And that respect, reverence expresses as upasana seva, many times also some poetry. In the Vedic period, they used to observe the nature and see the glorious things that are happening in nature, and they used to appreciate it in their whatever the literature they knew. That has become the bulky portion of the Aranyakas in the Vedas. That is called as Upasana. That also be attentive is going to lead for next level of Advaita Vedanta Vichara. That is who is the substratum of all this. Therefore, this Upasana also is given the position of Upanishad. Therefore, Samhita Upanishad it is mentioned. Samhita Upanishad is observing, like in the communication. Though very swiftly, fastly, every type of communication we do and get benefit out of it, yet through that communication, within the communication, lot of grammar is happening, which we have learned in the Shiksha Adhyaya. In the same way, in the huge worldly phenomena, which we are seeing it and making benefit of it, yet lot of grammar also is happening in that. The grammar is like in the grammar, the combination between the aksharas and the padas and vakyas. So too in the grammar of the universe, the combination of variety of phenomena forces is happening. Just like the grammar is bringing out the melodious language with meaning, so too the grammar of coming together of these universal big things is bringing out all the facilities for you and I, human being individual, as well as the total for our own comfortable living. So there the grammar is helping for communication. Here the grammar is helping for whole survival and sustenance. So there we have understood grammar rules and followed it and made use of that language. So to here we try to observe the great phenomena that are happening in the world and make use of it as well as contribute to it without spoiling it. Thus becomes Samhita Upanishad Jnata or Sandhi Upasaka of this world. For that, the five examples are given. Then we are told to discover umpteen number of things that are in this world. Like in this world, everywhere somebody are either communicating. In that communication, the language is used and the language is followed with the grammar rules. In the same way, in this universe, continuously everywhere, these type of great sandhis or vyakaranas are happening, because of which so much of is coming to us for our survival. So there, as we understood and appreciated grammar, here also observe, understand what great thing is that is happening and appreciate it. That's called upasana. Five examples, but further you can work out. Like when you go to a great green fields, अपने खेतियों में जाते हो, going with a blind mind and intellect, like a rustic, is one way. But there you can do upasana. Upasana of everything. How a farmer or the group of farmers are working. The whole process is so beautiful. Observing and appreciating is upasana. How he is plowing land or sowing the seeds or putting the saplings or watering it or trimming it. Everything is so great, which is going to yield the crop later on. This all that what is happening is his great contribution to bring out the crop. Our job of Upasana is we appreciate it. He is doing his own Upasana of contribution, of doing his farming. But for us, Upasana, when you go there, is look at that. It is an example. Then from the plant side also you can see how the seed or plant taking all the things from all the atmosphere and working within itself to bring out whatever that crop it has to bring. That is also great thing that's happening. The Lord has put in that. Who is that Lord who is doing that? Will be the next question, which will take us in bhakti to Sharanagati, in Vedanta to the Brahma Tattva. But before that, he is a becoming a enjoyer of that food. Means along with becoming an enjoyer of that food, become an observer, become a contributor, become an appreciator, express those gratitudes. All is called upasana. See, you can do the upasana of Bhumata. That you are having all power and permission given for all the seeds to bring out whatever they want. Bhumata is allowing guava fruit to give guava phala. Guava tree. He is allowing the rice grain, for the rice paddy to give out that paddy. Appreciate Bhumata. You can appreciate Jala Devata. Kaman is water. But to every plant, it is giving the help for that plant to bring out that particular tree, fruit or vegetable. You can appreciate Vai Devata. That is also called Upasana. Everything in this world is wonderfully happening. Recognizing greatness is Upasana. Every politician, every minister of every portfolio, are working hard. Your job is to observe and help. That observing and doing the due help is called Upasana. Every scientist, every professional in this world, every child in his own innocence, adding to the joy of the people around in a small smile, in his simple living. If you can observe it, you are in Upasana. A flower in its own place, attracting the bees, giving that fragrance to the surroundings, adding to the beauty of that place. If you can observe, you are Upasaka. And you water that plant, protect it. So then you are extending the Upasana into Seva. You understand how we have to be all the time. In Zavabhogi, must be Upasaka. Appreciate. Anytime when we are wearing the cloth, we must appreciate who is the one who brought out the cotton thread, then made into a cloth and made into a shirt or whatever you are wearing. Not much time, 2 3 seconds. Close eyes, thank them. You are done upasana. When you are traveling your own vehicle, how many engineers have mechanical engineers worked behind it to create that engine? Then who assembled it? Then people later on. He creates only engine, uska kaam utna hi. But making it more convenient, sophisticated, comfortable, that is done by different people. हर एक चीज वहाँ, the why the handle is there, why the petrol tank is there, how and why the seat is like that, how those two tires are joined, if it is a two-wheeler. No, each one is the outcome of the great krishi of so many intelligences. एवरीथिंग इज द टायर इस तरह से क्यों है, उसमें वो बाकी चीज़ें जो बनाया है, everything is a miracle. All put together is a glorious object there, and we are using it. Just 2 seconds close eye from the scientist up to the person who has put petrol in my vehicle. सबको एक बार एक मुस्कुराहट से रिकॉग्नाइज करो. दैट इज उपास. Then only the thought that I also must contribute will come, which will eliminate the thought of I am only the consumer. The consumer, a bhogi, will remain only at the sthula vastu level. He will never become upasaka, nor will become chintaka. Bhogi should become upasaka, upasaka should become chintaka, vicharaka. In the chintana and vicharana, he will discover that in whose presence his infinite power is making the infinite things happen. And in that lofty vision of our understanding Him and His power and its expression, we find ourselves to be so small. Then we just surrender. The moment we surrender, all our negativities go away. A person who doesn't surrender alone is egoistic person. So that egoistic person only tries to do only what his mind projects. And the mind projects only adharma, papa, kamana. यही करता रहेगा वो. So we have given an idea like only learning language, even in our own mother tongue, is not sufficient. That has to be employed for higher and greater purposes. The two higher greater purposes of using every language. Now here the Sanskrit Bhasha is to communicate or learn the art of Upasana, seeing what a glorious things that are happening in the world at an individual level, at the group level, at a total level. Is it not? A train is going. How many people are coordinating in the movement of the train? The drivers, the guards, the secondary drivers, and at every signal level, the people who are showing that green or red signal, and the railway station में the station masters, the TTs, कितने लोगों का टीम मिलने से एक ट्रेन चल रहा है. If you observe it, you are doing an upasana, a flight. Eh? The pilot is there, co-pilot is there, the crew staff are there, then the ground duty officers are there, then those people who are at radar or observing the movements of the flight. अब कितने लोग मिले तो काम हो रहा है. It's a group of great devatas working that way. They don't know they are devatas, but we must accept that they are devatas. Because of them only this is happening. Therefore, a quite prayer for the well being of them, a gratitude in the heart, you have become an Upasak. See, anywhere when you go to a restaurant or a mall, a cinema theater, an airport, how many individuals and groups are working together to make that thing happen? That understanding at the intellectual level, appreciating and contributing at the mind level is called as Upasana. That's the only thing which pulls our minds wrong tracks of thinking in a way of only bhoga, only kama. अदरवाइज होल लाइफ एक नहीं, हजारों जिंदगियां भी सिर्फ अर्थ और काम और भोग में ही फंसा रहेगा. दिस नो वे टू कम आउट ऑफ दिस लोअर लाइफ ऑफ अवर्स देन coming to the level of upasana. Non-upasaka is only a bhogi consumer. Upasaka starts becoming a yogi as by being a contributor. Beautiful that life would be. Everywhere in the world, the individuals combining together, creating the world to be so beautiful. Like in a tree, the roots, the trunk, the branches, all are working to bring out that flower or fruit. In every department, so many people are working. पूरा गवर्नमेंट काम कर रहा है, उसमें फिर एक एक डिपार्टमेंट, इन दैट डिपार्टमेंट अगेन सब डिपार्टमेंट, इन दैट अगेन sections. Is it not? See the hospital system there. How many people work together? The cleaning people, they are important in their own places. The nurses, they are important in their own places. The patholog people, lab people, they are important in their own place. Without their contribution, how the diagnosis is done? All treatment of doctors depends only on the pathologist. Doctor only tells जाके test कराओ. Test is done by them. They are the ones who tell ki these are the pathogens that are there. Then the doctor uses his brain to apply or prescribe that particular the treatment, medicine, etc. to defeat those pathogens. If the lab authority doesn't properly test or tell, or if they are not there, then the doctor will not know which are the things causing this particular symptom of disease. Then how can he prescribe? So he is his own, they are his own way, the pathological lab people. Then the secondary junior doctors who help. Then the doctor, the expert, the senior experts. Apart from that, the non-treating staff, like in the education system, the non-teaching staff. Everyone is there together. Our eye to look at all of them, each individual and the total, is called as Upasana. That level we have to come to. Who can do that? Who is not stuck up in his own personal, individual life and bhoga. Like a child at home. He's only interested in his own bhoga. He will shout at mother to give the food at time. It's such a rascal, he's useless. He is little quiet, he is matured, then he thinks how mother is going through all difficulty to make this breakfast, lunch for me. Then before deserving or desiring the food, he becomes a contributor by asking mother what help I can do. Who is greater? Torturing the mother for being a bhogi or helping the mother in creating that food? Obviously, second one, he is upasaka. He is doing upasana in this entire phenomena of cooking there. The whole cooking is upasana. You are contributing. Everything in this world is happening in that our contribution. Clear? After this much basis, our intellect should grow now. Everywhere, be a contributor, silent contributor by appreciating and adding. Even if you put your vehicle in your own lane, you are an upasaka. If you can park your car in right place, you are an upasaka. If you leave your foot flare in the proper place, you are upasaka. Everywhere. Because you are understanding what is happening in total and you are helping for the total's beauty rather than spoiling it. That attitude is called upasana. For that, we have to use all the abilities, faculties given by the Lord. Here, what is given is the grammar and grammar rule of Sandhi is being used to teach us the Upasana. And its wide application, we try to see last 20 minutes. Okay? Huh? Now, what are the five Upasana Prakriyas or a basis told to us? It's not the end of the list. It's only in that Upanishad, the Rishi said, यार ये पांच चीजें मुझको दिख रहा है. In the instant, immediate mood, I am sharing this with you. But you continue like this. So many Mahasamhita Upanishads that are happening in the world. Then, in that mood, when you are there and going to contribute, everything comes to you, including the Brahma Varchasam that will be told in the Falashruti. So, before that, yesterday we saw Adilokam, Adijyotish. How in that Adiloka, the phenomena that is happening and we are observing it, our observance giving such a beautiful, respectful, reverential attitude, then that observation, the attitude, followed by our contribution, put together becomes Upasana. That's called Samhita Upanishad. In doing so, what are the things that are happening? Our observing capacity is growing. Our selfishness, greed, ego, vasanas are going away. And when the observation capacity is to become stronger of all these phenomena, slowly intellect gets activated later on to pose a question. Is this everything happening mechanically or is there somebody behind? In the pursuit of answer to that question, we become meditative, contemplative. In that contemplation, meditation, with the grace of Guru and all Upadesha, of course, that we become nearer to the presence of that pure, infinite Paramatma. Call him as Brahma or Atma, whatever. To inquire about the Parabrahma later on, a step before that is called the Upasana. So, Adhilokam. Prithvi Purvarupam Dyauh Uttararupam Akashah Sandhihi Vayuh Sandhanam Iti Adhilokam. This is the Adhiloka Upasana Samhita. See the whole Prithvi, how big it is, how it is supporting all the jivas. And then you can go to further thinking. Even this Prithvi is a part of sun or some other thing broken and took lakhs of years, became cold. Slowly the water element is introduced into that. Nothing is accidental. Scientists say everything is accidental, but we say everything is incidental. It is happening by the intelligence of an intelligent being called Paramatma. Then from the first unicellular organism came. Slowly it has grown. Seeing all these aspects is called Prithvi, Purvarupam. So too, Devahu Uttararupam, this divine conscious self, or the Devatas Ityadi in the Sarga, who are given the power to manage all the earth as well as earthly beings. So, then in between them, the Akasha is the Sandhi, in which the connection between them is established. And who is establishing connection is Vayu Sandhanam. The Vayu Devata is the one who is bringing Sandhanam between Duloka as a Bhuloka. We told you. The prana at the total level called as Hiranyagarbha, whose sankalpa that the पृथ्वी होना है उस पे देह आदि बनना है और उन देहों में जीवों को भेजना है. Here, Vayu is not only the external Vayu we should talk about, we have to talk about the Prana Shakti. And the wielder of total Prana Shakti called as Hiranyagarbha. And that Prana Shakti at the total level is so subtle one. This is the one which empowers the intellect to think, mind to feel emotion, Karmendriya, Jnanendriya to work. To that level, the Vayu, the meaning of the word Vayu, you have to lift to. That's called as Vayu Sandhanam. Is it not the presence of Vayu as prana in us making us do all the karma through karmendriyas, jnanendriya, antakarana, which are becoming, the karmas are becoming papa or punya. According to that only, either we go to Swarga or come to Bhuloka or come to any of the yoni. Vayu is the sandhanam for the jiva, for his avajahi between the Swarga as well as Bhuloka. If the Vayu as a prana is not there, none of the faculties will work. So no karma is done, no karma phala, then no going into different worlds. That way, that observance is called upasana. He will give only four things: Prithvi Purvarupam, Devaruttara Akashandi, Vayu Sandhanam, Iti Adilokam. Now you appreciate work on that. I give you data. I hold Guru, more than that he can't teach at that time. बाकी बच्चों को समझना है. Then these children will ask the senior guru, disciple, कि क्या? Then they may help us. कि इसका अर्थ यह है कि don't just be a blind person. Observe how these transactions happening between the seemingly gross world and subtle world, gross earth and subtle diloka. How in this akasham, so as a sandhi, through the vayu as sandhanam, all these are happening. Your akasha's position is the emptiness. And its emptiness called as akasha tattva is allowing, be attentive, for the Prithvi to manifest in it. Prithvi is nothing but Akasha only. Prithvi is sustained by Akasha. Prithvi has got its birth from Akasha. It is staying in the Akasha. आकाश को गुस्सा आ गया ना, पूरा पृथ्वी को खा लेगा वो. Only the Akasha remains. So that is why he is becoming Sandhi. And in the Akasha, for the appearance of Prithvi, whatever the phenomena is required, that is conducted with the Vayu. Therefore, Vayu is the Sandhana. And in Diloka, all the Devatas, they have their own planning. Brahaspati does his guidance. Indra, Varuna, Vayu, they are all doing their own work. For this Prithvi mein jo chahiye. Like a ship has to go from one place to the other, marine ship. Now, the ship journey कराने वाले अपना प्लान करके जो करना है करते. Cargo people do their work. The servants do their work. And if it is a big one, along with cargo, it is also human beings traveling. Then there is a department of food completely. See how many people staying on the earth are managing the show on the ship which is in the waters. In the same way, here the ship is the earth here, which is in the Akasha. And the earthly, these variety of engineers are called the Devatas in the Diloka. Like these people are managing all the show, so too the Diloka Devatas are managing all the show what is happening on the earth. That is called as Devruttara Rupa. That way becoming deeper and deeper in thinking, understanding, and not taking anything happening as if accidentally. एक सब चीज बढ़िया systematically planning के साथ हो रहा है. After that, then what's my contribution? My contribution is knowing our identity, doing our duty, and abiding in that devotional aspect, taking whatever is given joyfully. That's it. So simple it is. Whether it is at home or at total level, living life is so simple. We only complicate it. So this is called as Adhiloka Samhita Upanishad Sadhana. Upanishad is Upasana. Here at this level. Later on, Upanishad means Brahma Vidya. Earlier, Upanishad means learning language and grammar. Then we saw second one, Athadit Jyotisham. The Jyotisha related Sabhita Upanishad or Upasana. So what I said? Agni Purva Rovam, Aditya Uttara Rupam, Apasandhi, Vaidyuta Sandhanam, Ityadi Jyotisham. As we trained ourselves, practiced in the Adiloka Upasana, in the Adi Jyotish also, we have to observe presence of this, presence of that, medium and mediator. What is present here is Agni. What is present there is Aditya. Medium is the waters. The mediator is Vaidyuta. Vaidyutaha Sandhanam. The lightening. So, Agni Purva Rupam. Agni is the Purva Rupa. And all the source for all the Agni here is Aditya Uttara Rupam. The Aditya is the one. And what is the Sandhi between these two? Like the Akasha was Sandhi there, the Apaha Sandhi. The Jala Devata is the Sandhi. At the level of hydrogen, oxygen, So too at the level of water, at the level of water vapor, at the level of ice block, in so many ways, the Agni here is allowed to be the higher level or lower level. That's a contribution of the water there. Is it not? It is depending on the waters that are there in the oceans, also in this Himalayan range in the form of glaciers, that the Agni or the temperature of the world depends. Is it not? आपके घर में भी जितना जल के बाल्टी आप रखोगे उसके अनुसार घर का गर्मी फर्क होता है. In the earlier day, the AC coolers not there. In small vessels, all those they fill up the water and put it. That water takes the heat of the house. You will not feel that much hot. अब 4 बाल्टियाँ लगा दो, पंखा चला दो, बस you don't need any AC cooler. Is it not? Is there a relation between heat and water or not? When the water in the form of glaciers gets melted, then that coolness of the water flowing cools down the atmosphere in the river, in the path where the river is flowing. So वहाँ अग्नि का थोड़ा फर्क हो गया उसका. Where in the Himalayas entire water is only solidified like it happens in the winters. There's no chance here. Therefore, it is so cold here because of non-availability of the heating aspect there. So when the water is in different forms, it is adding to the heat and cold of the atmosphere. Therefore, अग्नि के लिए यहाँ क्या है ना, आपः संधि है. That's so in us also. When we eat very hot, when we feel the thirstiness, which is a sign of the heat, we consume the water. Water quietens that heat. The one who takes proper water, heat of body, acidity inside, that inner heat it is called. They will not be there for a person who takes calculatively the water at different timings of the day. So too, the element called as the water, Bhagavan has said to manage or maintain the fire. इसलिए ज़्यादा जलता है तो पानी ला कर ही बुझाते हैं वो लोग. ज़्यादा भी नहीं होना चाहिए, बुझना चाहिए. And all the heat brought to us by the sun is cooled by the rains of the rain god, water. And again, water also is the most important thing that is made into water vapor and the rains again by the heat only. इनके बीच में ये वाला संबंध है. Observing that sambandha and together they are contributing for the life and the world to sustain is called as our Upasana. And then respect the Agni, respect the Jala, and make right use of them. All that is what of Upasana. So Agni Pura Rupam, Aditya Uttara Rupam. Aditya is the main source of all the Agni here. And whole Aditya, if he comes near, we get burnt. Therefore, through his kiranas, he himself staying there, sending that Agni Tattva heat here. It's all very intelligently happening phenomena. थोड़ा ज़्यादा दूर गए तो भी भगवान सूर्य, वी ऑल बिकम आइस ब्लॉक, वी कांट लिव. थोड़ा नज़दीक आ जाए तो हम सब जलकर राख होते. Exact distance is maintaining. And he himself is not coming, he is sending the rays. What are the rays? His kind and compassion heart through which he is sending his light and heat to the earth in the required quantity. Like the mother from the vessel gives required quantity of rice or dal to the child. Not that पूरा ऐसे डाल देती है. जितना चाहिए उसको उतना. She observes. So too the Surya Bhagavan through Kirana giving us the required amount of Agni here. And without Agni, as we already explained yesterday, therefore we are not discussing, the body will not sustain. नहीं तो he is gone cold, ठंडा पड़ गया. Without the Agni, none of the things in the living beings, none of the living beings can live. अग्नि के कारण ही जीवन प्राण है. And all the cooking happens because of Agni. And every tree plants taking that sunlight heat only, they are able to bring out their fruits, whatever the things. So हर जगह अग्नि का हमको उपयोगिता देखना है. So खेती बाड़ी के लिए अग्नि, खाना पकाने के लिए अग्नि, फिर खाना पचने के लिए भी अग्नि. Everywhere Agni's presence you have to see. Okay, then that is coming to us from Aditya. Therefore, our everyday morning, afternoon, evening, Upasana to Aditya. To maintain the Agni Tattva level balanced on the earth. तुमको गुस्सा आ गया तो कुछ दिन बहुत गर्मी ऐसे दे देंगे, then तंग हो जाएंगे लोग. Or else he will take so much water and he gives such a heavy rains and floods that also we suffer. Don't make Aditya Bhagavan angry. Don't take Aditya only as a burning one hot thing, as it is said. That we accept. Whatever science says, we accept. We never deny it. Because what they are saying is neither new nor created. Whatever is there, they are saying. And what is wrong in accepting it? There is nothing called a golakam there. There are some vayus continuously combining, as a result of which the continuous heat is generated there and it is supplied all around. ये सब हम जानते हैं. But our idea is there is an Adhisthana Devata who is making all that phenomena happen, whom we call as Surya Bhagavan or Aditya. Our attention is on that conscious principle expressing through. Hinduism talks about the conscious principle, not only inert things. There is no inert for the Hindus. Everything is consciousness expressing. Okay, that's anyway different thing. Now Aditya Uttara Rupam is explained. Aditya Bhagavan, his phenomenal glory and his compassion to send the heat to the earth. Then we have seen the importance value of the Jala, Apaha. It is the water which is balancing the heat of the heat. कम या ठंड ज़्यादा नहीं होने देते हुए वो चला रहा है. In our body, continuous blood flow is happening, digestion works are happening. How much of heat is generated, So much of calories. With that heat, actually, we should be burnt all the time, along by already. But it is supply of water which is inside balancing all that. Interesting point. So the contribution of the Agni, contribution of Surya, contribution of the Jala. Then also the contribution of Vaidyutaha Sandhanam. So there the Vayu was a Sandhanam, it's a Vaidyutaha Sandhanam. Those flashes of lightning. It has got a lot of influence on the earth when the lightnings happen. Phenomenal influences they also. Again, through that, the Bhagavan only is giving whatever is required for the earth. So that way, the Sandhana Karta, the Vidyuta, that also, it's like a lightning. It just comes as a lightning, but so much it does in that small amount of time, again disappears. So that observes the phenomena with lightning and its contribution is called as the Upasana. This is called as Dyauhu. Oh, sorry, second one, Jyotihi Adhikaranam. Adijyotisham. So first one is Adilokam. Adiloka Samhita Upanishad. Second is Adijyotisham Samhita Upanishad. Now, three more are there. Adividyam, Adiprajam, Adhiatmam. Okay. In that Adividya Samhita Upanishad, what is the Upasana? Is recognizing what are the things which are involved in the creation of or the outcome of Vidya and appreciating each one of them. Just like without the Loka we cannot live. Therefore, Loka is such a great important thing. Therefore, that was taken into discussion. That is why it was called a Mahasamhita Upanishad. Then we took the Agni also, not an ordinary thing without which everything goes cold. They were appreciated. Now, these two are at the total divine Prakriti level. Now, the three things are taken for the individual level. In individual level, these are the three crucial things. Like in the total level, the Agni and Loka were important. So, the Agni and Loka were taken for the Upasana. In individual, the Vidya and Santati as well as the Vyaktitva Vikasam. These three are important. Therefore, these three are taken as Samhita Upanishad. Among them, first is the Adhividya aspect. Without Vidya, the human beings are Pashu only. Therefore, observe the Vidya Prachara Prasara that is happening in the world. This is the first step of Upasana. And then who are the contributors and how that phenomena is happening? Recognize it, appreciate it. And for you to become Vidyarthi, you follow all the rules. But the recognition, appreciation, contribution, following that Vidya Prakriya is called as Adividyasamita Upanishad. Beautiful. In this, the four things are there. Again, like what is the Purva Rupa, what is Uttar Rupa, what is Sandhi, what is Sandhanam. Sandhi is the intermediate space which gives chance for them to come together. Sandhanam is that thing by which the coming together happens. Like a, E, beach में space. Then the Guna Sandhi comes. That brings the Sandhanam of these two, A and E. As a result of which A is pronounced in our Sanskrit. A plus E is equal to A. Or K plus Ki is equal to Ka plus E is equal to K. Like that. So who is the Purvarupam? Acharya Purvarupam. भगवान शंकर भाष्यकार ने भाष्य नहीं लिखा, उन्होंने कहा इत्यादि समानम. एंड वी आर गिविंग सम टाइम टू स्टडी. सो आचार्य पूर्वरूपम अंतेवासी उत्तर रूपम विद्या संधि प्रवचनम संधानम इत्यादि इति अधिविद्यम. This is called as, this is a Vidya related Upanishad. Atha Adividyam. Now each of them are great. Acharya Purva Rupam. A human being discovering the self itself is so great. And after that he can go in some gufa and stay there. Instead of that, to teach the jivas or disciples. If he has taken the Acharya Avatara and Rupa, how much great is that attitude and idea, बताओ. अगर वो डिसाइड करते हैं मैं आचार्य बनूंगा नहीं, किसी को सिखाऊंगा नहीं, कोई आचार्य ही नहीं है मानो इस जगत में, कोई विद्या का प्रचार प्रसार होगा ही नहीं. नॉट ओनली द आध्यात्मिक परा विद्या, एनी आदि भौतिक अपरा विद्या ऑल्सो वी आर टॉकिंग. यहाँ सारे विद्याओं को जोड़ लो आप. फॉर एवरी विद्या द आचार्य इज नॉट देयर. स्कूल कॉलेज ऑल स्टूडेंट्स वेंट बट नो प्रोफेसर्स. Our professors are on strike, or they don't have knowledge, or they have but they don't have to teach, but they are teaching but half-heartedly. With so many problems, will the communication of Vidya happen to students? No. That is why highly qualified professors, having tested thoroughly, are given those jobs. It's not only the prestige issue for the institution, that's also important for the institution. But more than that, the Bhavi Bharata citizens who are coming out of these colleges, they must come out with all the proficiency of theoretical knowledge and the efficiency of the practical knowledge. All that is given to those innocent children by the professors only, the acharyas. Therefore, he is a Purva Rupa. In every field, कोई भी साइंस है, the academic sciences कहो, the व्यावहारिक sciences कहो, the father teaches the child how to do the farming and plowing. That is called Acharya. Here the father teaches the child, a goldsmith father. But how it has to be tested or the melted or molded, he is the Acharya there. A chief chef teaches the juniors as to how hygienically you have to stay and select the types of the objects or vegetables and vessels. All of that, how the fire has to be used, छोटा बड़ा, तब जाकर कौन से टेस्ट के लिए किस तरह से बनाना है. When you put on the sim, the taste is different, even for a tea. When the flame is mediocre, the mixture of the tea का powder and the चीनी and इलायची जो भी है वो अलग होगा, उसका टेस्ट अलग है. अब बड़ा में रखोगे तो उसके गर्मी के कारण टेस्ट अलग होता है. Each one likes different taste. The chief chef teaches the juniors. He is an acharya there. A swimming teacher, an acharya. A horse riding, not trading. He is an acharya. Purva Rupam. How? How much pain it is to be an acharya, only acharya knows. He has to maintain himself, he has to update his vidya, he should know all the techniques. More than all these, what? Without any rhyme, reason, or benefit, holding on to these stupid people called as disciples who are never understanding the greatness of Acharya, never they are obliged to him, nor they abide to the discipline, no devotion and surrender. ऐसे रस्टिक फेलो उसको पकड़ के रखना सबसे बड़ा हेडेक होता है. Out of the 20 students, only one fellow will be dedicated. Other 19 fellows try to pull this one. Not that they do deliberately, but they are at the raw level. It's not that animals deliberately are not in our control. No, they are raw, they are untrained, they are uncultured. So the youngsters, children coming are untrained and uncultured. है. उसको प्यार दे दो, समय दे दो, समझाओ, बिठाओ. How biggest problem for an acharya. It's the toughest task, Vichara. And then he has always the choice to leave everything and be in his own meditation. Instead of that, he is coming down to lower level to struggle to teach to this disciple how much the Acharya's contribution. If you know that, you are doing Upasana. Acharya Purva Rupam. In every field. Is it not? Doctor is an Acharya for teaching you how to be healthy. ड्राइविंग सिखाने वाला भी आचार्य है. Second one is Antevasi Uttara Rupam. Antevasi means till the Vidya Samapti happens. अंतर तक विद्या सीखने तक जो गुरु के पास रहकर सरेंडर करके सब सीखता है, इसलिए उसको अंतेवासी कहते हैं. वासी मीन्स रहने वाला, अंत्य मीन्स till the end. Coming in the beginning and staying till the end is called Antevasi. Some people come in between and say Hari Om to me on this laptop, YouTube, and they disappear. And I, poor fellow, look at that and think that they are always there. At the end of the class, when I end the stream and see, it is only they were there for only 2 seconds. They are not Antevasi, they are Madhyavasi. Not even Madhya also Vasi. They didn't Vasi there only. They just came, said hi and said bye and went away. बट अंतेवासी अपने अंदर का अज्ञान का अंत होने तक, अपने ज्ञान पिपासा का अंत होने तक, by getting all the nectar of jnanam, the one who with all surrender, devotion, dedication serves the teacher, he is called अंतेवासी. शिष्य को कहते हैं अंतेवासी. शिष्य को अपने अज्ञान को अंत करना, ज्ञान को पूर्ण करना, गुरु का सेवा करना इस दौरान is the only idea, is no other thing. It's called Antevas. And as much great, grand, glorious is the Guru, so equally is the disciple. Guru is established in himself. Therefore, he has no half problem is solved for him. His half problem is only the disciple. But disciple has a full problem. He'll have to manage himself and he'll have to listen to Guru. Is it not? For you all people, you have to manage your entire daily schedule and all. देन आकर क्लास में बैठकर मुझे झेलना, ये तो आपका डबल प्रॉब्लम है, मैं जानता हूँ. Is it not? So Antevasi has his own lower level. His mind is getting distracted, his senses are getting tempted. He has come with his own past samskaras, there's a lot of laziness in him, and he always tends to go with his other friends and do all type of gupshup and all that. हम उसको भी ये नहीं पसंद है, ये इसको करना नहीं चाहता, बड़ा मजबूर है. तो he is struggling with himself. And why should he struggle under to any other human being on the name of this Acharya? ये आचार्य जी है प्रणाम को, इनसे मेरे को विद्या ही नहीं चाहिए. And why should I appreciate him? He can say so. Like all of the people other than you, they do it. Why should I go and sit in the Swami's class? Yeah, they have not accepted the Acharya. They don't want knowledge, first of all. So they don't have value. Why should they? It is you, some genius, great people, that you give value Acharya and comments it. But otherwise, you also can any moment go, no. So Antevasi has got his own greatness. Is it not? His own struggles. Recognizing it is called Upasana. And in our life, become Antevasi, not Acharya. Then what is the Sandhi for both of them? Vidya Sandhi. Vidya is the goal there, purpose. The purpose of them coming together is transfer of Vidya from the Guru to disciple. If it is Adhyatmika, it is an Adhyatmik Vidya, removes the Avidya and Avidya related or Avidya leading Bandhana to the disciple. In the Laukika Vidya, if it is not Adhyatmik Vidya, then that professional skills are taught to that child. He will get an employment and help himself. But Sandhi is Vidya. That is what Vidya Samyojanena. Vidya Samyojanena to the disciple. And Guru ko Vaktrutva Samyojanena, Samarthya Samyojanena of that Vidya. He has already got that Vidya. He'll have to communicate it. That is why the fourth one is what? Pravachanagam Sandhanam. And what is the Sandhanam between Acharya and disciple, Antevasi, for fulfilling their purpose of coming together, called as transferring of Vidya, Pravachanagam Sandhanam. The pravachanam means a proper subject taken and exhaustively explained with all details so that the disciples or listeners have got complete understanding of the subject and its glory and its utilization. That's called pravachanam. Vachana is to speak. Pravachana means best subject is spoken with the best of the clarity and purpose in a best manner. That's called pravachana. सो उपनिषद लेकर मंत्रों को भाष्य के साथ समझाने का प्रयत्न प्रवचनम. दिस कॉल्ड इज संधानम. नाउ रिमेंबर इन दिस यूनिवर्स at the gross level itself, so many of the pravachana's are happening wherein the gurus are communicating Vidya to disciples at this very moment. And in a subtle form, unknown, unseen at the eye level, also lot of pravachana is going on. सूक्ष्म रूप में हमको नहीं दिखता है आंखों से. The Antevasis are listening, gaining their Vidya from the Acharya through the Sukshma communication of Pravachanam. And unless that's now like after 15 years or 25 years, all those who are professionals, they become retired now, 30 years. But उस समय again a new set of professionals at every place have to be there to continue the show. Now, all those are now receiving the Pravachanam through which Vidya from the Acharya. Now they are all. That's what he said. All the students in all the schools, colleges of today are going to be the doctors, lawyers, engineers to run the entire show of the world tomorrow. And for that, the continuous Acharya Purvarupam, Antevasa Uttarupam, Vidya Sandhi, Pravachanam Sandhanam is going on. Not only in the classroom classes, after the classes, the children are held for more homework, they are given homework at home, they study at home. ये सब भी पढ़ाई है. At home, when the student is studying, he is studying what Acharya taught. That is called as Vidya is going on there also. Like when you listen to Upanishad, it is not the only pravachanam here. When you go home and do the reflection, you reflect on what is taught here. That's what the pravachanam only. So it's going on. Guru ko sunana pehla level of pravachanam. Listening by the disciple is second level of pravachanam. Holding to that information and trying to digest. In that he is using a process of contemplation. That also is pravachanam is going on. So every time there is a sandhanam rupi pravachanam, everywhere it is going on. And in that pravachanam, at the level of Dakshinamurti level, without speaking only, teaching is done. And the disciples, if they are subtle like the disciple of Dakshinamurti, without depending on the gross pravachanam, they will be able to learn from observation only. So Guru is doing and telling without telling vocally. Guru is, disciple is without listening vocally, observing and learning. Is going on. Vidya इस तरह से भी चला जाता है. Every quotation is a Vidya. The one who quoted, he might have died long back. But whenever that is seen by anybody, a Vidya is gained by him. At that time, the pravachana is happening by that person through that sentence. Like if I am studying Gita now. Gita Acharya Bhagavan Krishna तो नहीं है ना, physically. But Whenever anybody studies Gita, their study of Gita and trying to understand Gita is the pravachana of the Acharya Bhagavan Krishna, Gita Acharya. In this way, the pravachana has so many definitions. In the present, pravachana is speaking and listening. That is for 45 minutes, 1 hour class. But when the books are given, the notes are given, the home notes are given, all of that is pravachana only. So, in this world, just like the Prithvi and Duloka brought together by the Akasha and Vayu, just like the Agni and Surya Bhagwan are connected from the Surya, the Agni is coming through the Jala and the lightning. So, to continuously in the world, the Vidya Prasarana is happening through Pravachana by the Acharya to the disciples. It's happening everywhere. A mother bird teaching the child bird as to how to go and get the food is also Acharya and Antevasi. An animal teaches another animal how to fetch the food, how to hunt. A cat teaches the kitten how to catch the prey. At that level, in him, the Acharya principle is working and the Antevasi principle is working there. Their Vidya is the Sandhi, that Vidya is Bhukti Vidya, and then the teaching by the cat is that way Pravachanam. If you can observe in this way, please tell me where this Adividya is not happening. That is called as Upasana. And in that our role, we should be as a Vidyanti, go to the Acharya and listen from him Pravachana and keep on getting the Vidya. Endless it is. The more I am getting Vidya, the more I am at the level of intellect, because intellect is equipped with the correct knowledge and understanding or Vidya, lesser will be the confusions or problems. There is no need for the mind to project because intellect has got the Vidya. If the Vidya is not there, then only projections in the mind come, then only whole life become chaotic. Chaotic. So the importance of the Acharya and Vidyarthi and the Pravachana Sandhanam, before that the Vidya Sandhi. Why are coming together? For Vidya. And without Vidya, our life is empty. Acharya Purvarupam Antevasi Uttararupam Vidya Sandhi Pravachanagam Sandhanam Iti Adividyam. It is Adividya Samhita Upanishad. Observing, understanding, appreciating, acknowledging, participating, contributing in this prachara prasara of Vidya is called as this Samhita Upanishad with Adividya's position, basis. Therefore, such person, he himself learns Vidya and makes right use of it and contributes in this world mainly for the prachara of the Vidya. आप इस जगत में सद विद्या प्रचार कराओ तो सारा जगत खुशियां आनंद में रहेगा. Then what are the few vidyas we have to teach? What is Brahma Vidya and Atma Vidya? Second is Upasana Vidya. Third is Dharmika Vidya. Fourth is the Vidya in which what is not to be done is taught. ये चारों चीजों में equip करो. What is not to be done? Then the Vyavaharik Dharmik Vidya, then the Upasana Vidya about Ishvara, then the Jnana or Brahma Vidya or Atma Vidya. These four Vidyas, when they are regularly trained, then the whole world will be in a beautiful form. If opposite of this is done, Atma Vidya is never taught, never everybody identify with Anatma and live life only Jiva and Deha suffer. If Upasana is not, Vidya is not taught, then everybody is filled with his Kama, Krodha, Raga, Dvesha and arrogance, nobody to surrender. If the Dharma Vidya is not taught, then everybody wants to be a consumer only, he doesn't want to be a contributor. He becomes liability. Then the Vidya, what is not to be done is not taught, then he will get tempted to do that. Then everybody start doing what is not to be done, then everybody will get what is not to be gained. So Vidya about what is to be Pratisiddha Nishedha. And Vidya about what is the Vidhi. Vidya about what is Upasana. Vidya about what is Tattva or Brahma or Atma. These four Vidyas we have to learn and we have to help in the spreading of them as our contribution. All of that put together becomes Samhita Upanishad. And all this, whether the Adhiloka Upasana or Adhi Jyotisha or Adividya. All of them based again basically on the language. Siksham Vyakyasyama. If you and I have not got this knowledge, language, then whatever I am teaching will not be communicated. इसलिए शिक्षा अध्याय को पहले बताया, जो बेस बनता है बाकी सारे उपासनाएं फिर ब्रह्म विद्याएं पाने को. ओके, देन अधिविद्यम, नाउ अधिप्रजम. What an important topic it is. The Adiprajam is also very important and relevant topic for us to be mature to understand. This literally we say today, tomorrow we'll explain it, and then Tamaha Sagamita Itya Chakshate. After that, Eva Metamaha Sagamita Vyakhyata Veda Sandhiyate Praja Prashmi Brahmavartsasena Nadyan Swargena Lokena. The Prala Shruti is so beautiful about this Samhita Upanishad. संहिता उपनिषद ने बताया हुआ उपासना का आप रेगुलरली करोगे, उसका फल बहुत बढ़िया है. दैट वी विल सी. Then if the time permits, we take up the next beautiful upasana, 2 mantras. One mantra of upasana for the japa, second mantra of upasana for yajna will be taught to us by the Guru, both for the Vidyagrahana Samarthya, then Dhanagrahana Samarthya. बढ़िया मंत्र यश्चंदसाम वृषभो. We'll see it 1 or 2 days. Tomorrow we'll touch it, explain it further. So here we stop today. Om 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 Om. May all the Rishi Parampara receive our devotional surrenders and prayers. May they reciprocate it by blessing us with the ability of understanding Upanishads, practicing and realizing. Part of the abilities is being regular, serious and sincere. May the Rishis bless all of us. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha Paravaruchibhyo Namaha Parabrahmane Namaha Shrutimatre Namaha Vedaya Sadgure Namaha Vaishampaya Sadgurave Namaha Yajnavalkya Sadgurave Namaha Adya Shankara Sadgurave Namaha Tatsat Brahmarpanamastu. Thank you. 10 minutes, let's study our Vidurniti.